Okay, so what's up next? Miri. Okay, so Miri sucks. At times early on, the original series could get pretty bad. You know how it is. I mean, shortly after this one, actually, is when we get into a series of really strong episodes for the very most part. After this, I think the season's fairly solid. But my goodness, I remember when I first watched this episode, which is a little under 10 years ago now. There was the thing that stood out most to me, other than like when the kids were all attacking Kirk at the end. I was like, man, this is stupid. Man, this show is sucking early on at least. Um, the one of the kids is portrayed by the actor who portrays Dill in the film of To Kill a Mockingbird, and yeah, it's funny. He looks like the exact same age as he did in that film, like not a year older. Um, I guess it's yeah. You'd have thought this was filmed a bit earlier, but obviously not. Anyway, I mean, what do you make of this one? God, you can't have a narrative, at least in televisual cinematic form, too many kids in it because a lot of child actors are really quite bad, and it's just sort of jarring, having a bunch of kids running around in this otherwise serious, or it could be corny, but otherwise sort of meant to be taken a little bit seriously science fiction show. I mean, if it's a novel, that's one thing. You can just sort of, you can make up the voices in your head. There's no bad actors when you're reading, I suppose. But God Almighty, it's a boring episode. It's just kind of dull. It doesn't bring out the strengths of the show. God, if you'd read this as a script, and if it was up to you to veto scripts or not, you'd be like, yeah, we're not doing this one. But then someone would say, well, the better scripts would be too expensive to film, and this is all we've got, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, we've got to go ahead and just do it. Because that's what it will come down to at the end of the day. People, myself included, are going to be complaining, why does this episode suck? Why does that episode suck? It's like, because it's a live-action production, and they can only afford to do so much. It's why, early Doctor Who, you've got certain episodes that you have, and why they're based around very specific sort of mild phenomena. And that, so when the Doctor Who novels came around, like the original novel, like based on original stories, I mean, not just adaptations of the serials, they go wild. Just from what I understand, I haven't read a lot of them, but like the McCoy continuing adventures went kind of nuts, from what I understand, in a good way and in a bad way. I think perspectives seem to differ upon that, the new adventures or whatever. Anyway, Miri, you can see it here. Unfortunately, yeah, whatever. We're moving on. It's just like I didn't feel the need to write anything up as opposed to just improvise on the spot because we're talking about Miri after all.